Microsoft is a company I can't seem to ever fall in love with. They always seem to do something that irritates the hell out of me, whether it's making consoles that are obviously not as good as their competitors, or even if it's making a new console that's nothing but a DRM machine. I still remember when you did that. But with the announcement of the Xbox One X, or as the fanboys call it, the Project Scorpios, I have to take a step back and really look at the stupid decisions Microsoft makes. Okay, here we go. Yes, I'm aware I'm not wearing an orange shirt. Don't hold it against me. Okay? They're in the washer. They need to be washed. I only have 3. Okay? Just leave me alone. E3 just wrapped up. All the shows got showed, all the games got played, and Microsoft, I think, really led a very underwhelming E3 performance once again this year. But we're not talking about Microsoft's E3 press conference today. Today we're talking about the Xbox One X and Microsoft itself, and how I think those two things are very disappointing. Note to self, this is just my opinion, okay? If you like the Xbox One X, if you think you need a 4K TV and play video games in 4K, even though most people don't have 4K, that's fine, that's your decision. You do you, okay? This is just my opinion on the matter. Don't get mad. This isn't about you, okay? Alright, let's continue. Okay, so in recent years, the only real thing Microsoft has done to compete with Sony on any discernible level is just add things to its console that Sony already added to theirs. So Xbox 360 announced that one of their new Xbox 360 consoles was gonna have built-in Wi-Fi, which is something that PlayStation 3 already had. You jump ahead to PS4, and you have Xbox just last year confirming that they're going to have an internal power supply in their consoles, which Sony already had. Then you go ahead and you jump to this year, and the Xbox One X is going to have Blu-ray disc games and VR support on their consoles, which is something PS4 already had. Like, when you take a look at the Xbox One X and you compare it to the PS4, the only real difference between those two consoles is that one runs at 60 frames and the other one doesn't. And that's not anything really all that important, because the PS4 could run games at 60 frames if it wanted to. The only thing you're really looking for in an Xbox One X is that it's going to have better graphics, it's going to have an easier time playing games in 60 frames, and it's going to have shorter load times, which in the grand scheme of things really isn't anything. I think the best article I've read since E3 pertaining to the Xbox One X is a Forbes article basically stating that the Xbox One X is not going to be any competition to the PS4. And I have to completely agree with that. There was an article from Kotaku saying that it's straight up doesn't even see it being essential. There's nothing about the Xbox One X that is that good. It's just a console. Granted, it is the most powerful console. I will give Microsoft that. You did build the strongest console. But I have to wonder why you didn't wait to roll this out in the next gen instead of showing your hand now. Because all you've done is given Sony a benchmark to shoot for when the next gen comes out. I don't understand why this is their way of moving forward. They just released a new console last year. They have the Xbox One S literally not even a year old, I'm pretty sure. And they're already releasing another console. This reminds me like back in the day where you had to buy tons of upgrades for your Sega Genesis or your Nintendo. It's just them trying to get all the longevity out of their consoles without really adding anything that spectacular to them. And let's not forget that to even get the quality of gaming that you want from this console, the Xbox One X, you still need a 4K TV. Now, I've been doing some research, and as of today, and today is the 16th of June, okay? The cheapest TV I found was $700 for a 50-inch 4K TV. And that one was on sale. The average cost of a 4K TV is $1,000 all the way to $5,000. You're talking at least $1,500 to have the quality of gaming setup that this console, you know, advertises for. You know, it may be the best gaming system out there, but if it's this expensive to play it, who's going to buy it? A lot of people look at this $500 price tag and think it's ridiculous, me included. There's no way they're going to be able to sell that many consoles when it's that pricey and it doesn't add that much to the game. One of the representatives of Microsoft basically said just that they don't even think they're going to sell a lot of these consoles, which is a curious thing to say, because releasing a new console is not something you do just out of the blue. It's something you do as a business opportunity to make money. And if they're not expecting to really make money off of this console, then I really don't see the point in why they released this console in the first place. The only thing I can really come up with is that they're trying to make Sony look bad. And they're not. Now, if we do a cost breakdown, that is, how much it costs to make the console compared to how much they sell it for, I don't have precise figures on the Xbox One X because they just released it, but I do have figures on the Xbox One. Now, when you break the price down, it costs $471 to make one Xbox One, and they sell that console for $500. So it's not out of the realm of possibility to say that it costs almost $500 to make an Xbox One X. I mean, again, you're putting a lot more hardware into this, plus a liquid-cooled system, all things that aren't very inexpensive. So I have to wonder how much money Microsoft, you know, might lose by doing this boneheaded thing like releasing an expensive console and pricing it for something so low. They could have easily priced this console for $600, but I think they knew that it wouldn't sell at that price, and even $500 is still a tough sell for a lot of people. This is a very niche market they're trying to appeal to, and I don't see it working for them in any extreme measure. Compare that with a PS4, which is comparable to an Xbox One, and it costs $381 to make. So Sony already comes out of the gate by being more cash solvent in their console manufacturing, and it's a good thing they waited for Microsoft to come out with the Xbox One X without talking about a new console themselves. When the Xbox One came out, it was nothing but a DRM machine, and you know, I and many other gamers are still really rubbed raw about that. That's actually the original reason why I didn't go out and buy an Xbox One at all, and it's the reason why I continue to trust Sony over Microsoft as a company. Now, I'm not saying Sony's not blameless in anything. They fuck up too. They're a big company who likes money, and I understand that. I can't fault them for being that, but I still think that they're more trustworthy than Microsoft is. And this is just another example of that. You have a console you don't need, you price it at something that's near the cost of making it, so you're not making any real money off of it, and there's nothing to it that makes it that great. And let's still face it, I'm not the kind of person who says the master race exists. I think that if you like video games, you should seek to play them on all different platforms, whether it be console or PC. But if I took the cost of a 4K TV and the cost of an Xbox One X, and instead of buying those two things, I go out and I, you know, put a bunch more money into my gaming rig, I would have the best gaming PC out there. And on that gaming PC, I can watch movies, Blu-rays, I can have the built-in Wi-Fi, I can have everything that a console has, and more, with the amount of money it takes to buy an Xbox One X. One of the main reasons why I think the Xbox One X can't compete in this gaming environment is because it doesn't have any exclusives. Now, I'm with the team that says exclusives suck. I don't like exclusives. I think they're horribly competitive, and they alienate gamers, and they put them into these camps, you know, the Xbox fanboys and the PlayStation fanboys. I've said in the past that PlayStation makes better exclusives. I still stand by that. I don't think exclusives should be the norm. I think they should be hauled out in short measure. The reason they have exclusives is to sell the consoles. You know, like PS4 is coming out, and you can only play The Last of Us on PS4. And I know that The Last of Us sold PS4 consoles, You go to the forums when they announce the game, and everyone's like, well, I have to buy a PS4 now because of this game. Xbox One X doesn't have exclusives. There aren't any exclusives for this new gaming console. And I understand why they did it. They didn't want to alienate their fans as it is. Because if you have Xbox One people and you have Xbox One X people, and you say, well, you can only have this game on Xbox One X, then you shut those people out. And I understand they don't want to do that, but can I just say that if that is a problem with this console, maybe you shouldn't have released it? I mean, you already have a Slim. You know, the console cycle is usually original console, next gen, then a Slim version, then you start moving on to the next gen console. That's the way it's been for a couple of years. And for some reason, Microsoft didn't do that this year. They went regular console, new gen Xbox One, Xbox without Kinect, Xbox One S, and then they're doing an Xbox One X, all in the same generation cycle, whereas PS4 is sitting here just making their money back and working on a next-gen console. And when you think about that, it's not business savvy. It's not business savvy to release a console that may alienate your base of fans and at the same time won't sell. It's stupid is what it is, and it doesn't make any sense. And I keep saying that because the more I talk about it, I hear myself saying these things, and my brain just can't comprehend why they would do this. When I heard Project Scorpio, I was like, they're working on their next gen console, something that's going to blow away the PS5. And now that it came out already, all I'm thinking is this is just a mid-tier console in between generation cycles. I see one of two things happening in the future. And it's either going to be that they mass produce this console, no one buys it, and they eat the cost, or they're going to start making exclusives for it, alienate their base, and hopefully make back their money. But again, it's the price difference between what they're making it for and what they're selling it for is a very small margin. And it worries me that they're not selling it for more. They did this price tag, I know, to compete with PlayStation 4 Pro, but again, when the only real difference between the consoles is load times and frame rates, I gotta say, I'm sticking with my PS4 Pro. I'm not going to go out and shell out $500 for a console I don't need, especially since I already have an Xbox One. It's not economical to me, and I don't really play that much Xbox as it is. I just got it so I could do Let's Plays and stuff on this channel, and even then, the one game I was really looking forward to, Scalebound, got canceled. So I don't see this console going anywhere, and I don't see Microsoft making any money off of it, which is a sad thing because I know they put a lot of work into it. They really should have saved this for the next generation, and they you know, the saddest thing about this whole thing is that they haven't made themselves look better. They've made PlayStation look better, because PlayStation's still comparable, even though this is the most powerful gaming system. At E3, they were already talking about how Destiny is only going to run at 30 frames per second on the Xbox One X. That just sounds silly to me, because a console that is supposedly the most powerful gaming console in history can only run Destiny at 30 frames per second. Meanwhile, PS4 Pro is going to be the only console that runs Destiny 2 at 4K resolution, which means Xbox One X isn't even going to run the game at 4K. So it's going to be at standard definition 1080p 30 frames per second. There's nothing about the Xbox One X that looks to be revolutionary in the future. You even have big titles like Destiny not even being able to do anything special with the console. And I'm not sure if that's because Xbox One X is going to have a history of that, of games not being able to run at 4K 60 frames. But if that's the path this console is going down, that's even more evidence that it's not going to do anything special. So at the end of the day, I think Microsoft is a company that still lags behind Sony. as a corporation. Again, Sony and Microsoft are both into making money. I get that, it's fine, but Microsoft seems to put a lot more effort into boneheaded moves. They release consoles before they need to. They don't really put that much work into the content of their video games. Well, I mean, not as much as Sony does. They've had some good games. Like, again, Halo was a smash success. Even though I didn't like it, I can still understand why people played it. But again, the quality of games here, it's so drastically different. You know, PS4 has The Last of Us. Xbox has Halo. I don't think those things are comparable at all. The Last of Us was obviously a much better story than Halo. And I know saying that's going to piss a lot of people off, but it's the truth. There's better exclusives on PlayStation than there are on Microsoft. And Microsoft tries too hard to appeal to these people who they don't need to. They're trying to win over gamers in general, but they're doing it with really lame things like 60 frames per second and 4K TV, which are two things no one needs. Better graphics does not mean better game. And I think the companies that make video games need to understand that. But with saying that, I'm actually done with this Blastcast, so I'll see you guys later. I'm out. Oh man, that E3 was pretty underwhelming, but you know what's not underwhelming is that video right there. You can click it, show me some love, and as always guys, I hope you are having a beautiful day.